second time has got to be a charm, right? Right. So my plan was to film 3 videos, maybe 4 today. I don't know that that's going to happen at all. I might get 2 because the first one I tried to do and it didn't come out right. So technical difficulties. Do you know how you're filming something or you're doing something and you think you're doing the thing and you're kind of not doing the thing because something happened and you didn't realize that something happened? Anyway, so that's what happened here. Something happened and this didn't get done the first go around. So here we are, take 2, and we're gonna make it happen. So stay tuned. Hey y'all, it's Erica from The Broken Spine. Welcome back to my channel, and if this is your first time here, thank you for stopping by. So I am going to really blow through this video super fast, because if you watched the intro, you know why. So yeah, let's just hop right on into it. So today's video, what is this, day 3 of Vlogmas? I'm super behind, by the way, in filming my Vlogmas videos because just life, work has been kind of on the rough side. So and my coffee is getting cold. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. That I can fix. So let's just hop right on into it. So this is going to be, we all have, I shouldn't say we all have, some of us have created goals, reading goals for the year that include a certain number of books and or a certain number of pages to read by year's end. And if you are having problems, if you have not reached any of those goals, or you're close to it, I thought I would recommend you some books that are under 250 pages that can help you reach your goals. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into this. The first one that I have is Nnedi Okorafor's Benty trilogy, and this is actually the omnibus, and this comes with an additional story. I really enjoyed this series, and the additional story is called Sacred Fire, and it picks up where Benty left off, where the first story left off. So, and to be perfectly honest, I read the first story, Benty, and then I felt a little let down with it because I felt like something was missing. And then in reading Sacred Fire, I felt like it was complete. So if you read Benty, I definitely recommend following it up with Sacred Fire in order to get the full picture. This is the first book that I'm going to recommend to you that is under 250 pages. The next one that I have is The Gilda Stories by Jewelle Gomez. And Jewelle Gomez is a queer author. She is African American and of Iowa and Mannequins. I think I just butchered that, and my apologies if I did. Please let me know in the comments what the correct pronunciation is. This is I'll just read the back. It'll just be easier that way. So this, okay, focus, eyeballs focus. This, oh my God, this, y'all, I am so on the struggle bus. So this remarkable novel begins in 1850s Louisiana, where Gilda escapes slavery and learns about freedom while working in a brothel. After being initiated into eternal life as one who shares the blood by 2 women there, Gilda spends the next 200 years searching for a place to call home. An instant lesbian classic when it was first published in 1991, The Gilda Stories has endured as an auspiciously prescient book in its explorations of Blackness, radical ecology, redefinitions of family, and the erotic potential of the vampire story. So I did a buddy read with Josh over at Josh's Bookish Voyage, and we also did a live show, which I will link up in the cards and in the description box below if you would like to check that out. So I really enjoyed these collection of stories, interconnected stories rather, and I definitely recommend you give this a go. The next one, I actually pulled out one and then ended up pulling out both of them, both books by this author, and it's The Gun and The Boy in the Earth, both by Fuminori Nakamura. And The Gun follows this character who's a college student, and he's taking a walk and he finds a dead body and a gun that is near the body, and he picks up the gun and goes on about his business, but it follows his descent into his obsession with the gun. So trigger warning, there's for mental health, and it just, the way in which Nakamura writes the story is, to me, compelling. So I really enjoyed it. I probably read it in a couple of hours and really enjoyed it. And the other one is The Boy in the Earth. So again, trigger warnings for this one. There's mental health, there is violence against a child, violence against women as well. So how in the world did I like this book with so much trauma? It's his writing. I really enjoy his writing style. So this follows, and the characters are unnamed here, so, or the main character is unnamed. So it follows this main character, and he is taken in by some relatives, and things happen. Then he ends up at an orphanage, and it just follows his horribly tragic life, but at the end there is some hope. And I didn't really describe that very well. If I really, I know I'm being vague and deliberately so. If I say a lot about it, then there's a potential for giving things away, and I don't want to do that. If you want to check it out, again, trigger warnings for mental health, violence against children, violence against women, and there's also suicidal ideation in here. The next one that I have is Ring Shout by P. Djèlí Clark. This takes place in 1920s Macon, Georgia. It follows Maurice, Sadie, and Chef, and they are resistance fighters, and they're fighting monsters called Ku Kluxes, and Ku Kluxes are said to have come down from Stone Mountain, or thought to have come down from Stone Mountain, after they showed this film called The Birth of a Nation, which was filmed, it's a real movie, by the way, if you didn't know, or it's shown in 1925, wrong year, 1915, and it glorifies the KKK, and it dehumanizes Black people, particularly Black men, and it makes the KKK the heroes in this story. So, and in Ring Shout, Maurice, Sadie, and Chef are resistance fighters, and they are looking to kill as many Ku Kluxes as they can possibly kill, because obviously they are killing the Black people. And I recommend, if you do pick this up, I recommend that you take it slowly because there are lots of little nuggets in here to sit and ponder on, but you can still read it in a day. Just take your time. That's all. That's my only recommendation. That is my only request, I should say, is if you read it, take it slowly. The next book that I have is Alice Walker's The Color Purple. Not going to get into it because I kind of feel like everybody already knows about it or has seen the movie. If you haven't, not exactly sure where you've been, but here it is. My copy, this edition, is a little over 250 pages, but you can still read it in a sitting. The next book that I have is James Baldwin's Giovanni's Room. I will have to say that this is not my favorite of James Baldwin's books, but I enjoyed it nonetheless. Oh, nonetheless. And the main character, I can't even remember his name. So the main character is struggling with identity, his sexual identity, and societal norms. And this takes place in 1950s Paris with American expatriates. I'm having a hard time speaking. But anyway, like I said, the main character was not my favorite. I love James Baldwin's writing, and the way that I felt for the other characters, I think was the purpose, was you were supposed to feel for the other characters, not necessarily our main character, but you do feel something for the main character. He just wasn't my favorite. He's just, in my opinion, just generally an awful person. But you can you understand why he is this way because of time and circumstances. You understand. Doesn't mean that it's acceptable or should be acceptable for him to be an ass. But that was just my opinion. That's my opinion. If you have some other opinion, please leave it down in the description, in the comments below, and we can chat about it. The next book that I have is Stephen Graham Jones's Night of the Mannequins. I really enjoyed this. It wasn't what I expected. I expected more of a gruesome, like bloody, whatever kind of horror, jump scares and things like that, but that's not what I got. It was still disturbing, and I still really enjoyed it. And it's about teenagers that find a mannequin in a lake, and they take it, clean it up, and they dress it up and put it in a movie theater. And one of the kids thinks that he sees the mannequin get up and walk out of the movie theater. So it follows this particular kid and his obsession with this mannequin. So I don't know why that was so hard for me to come up with. Anyway, definitely give this one a go. The next one that I have is a book of poetry. So if you like poetry, I definitely recommend you checking out Black Girl Call Home by Jasmine Mans. And this, if I remember correctly, is her debut collection of poetry. And there are so many poems in here that I really, really enjoyed. And so many of them tugged on my heartstrings, and brought back memories of like me and my mom. And one, it says, "Mama has a hair salon in the kitchen." That, yeah, that right there. When I read that, I was like, okay, she's all up and down my street on that. If you like poetry, or if you're new to poetry, I recommend you checking this out. And we are coming down to the last two. If you have read 1984 by George Orwell, or Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury, or really, if I'm being honest, any dystopian literature, you will see influence of this author, Yevgeny Zamyatin. And he was a Russian author. This was not published in Russia during his lifetime. If I remember correctly, he was exiled. But anyway, it was published in 1924. Let's see, not too long before he died. He died like a little more than 10 years after it was first published by Dutton. And it is about a society, one nation, in which all of the characters are identified as numbers, letters and numbers. So we'll say O 1 2 3 or I 1 2 3. So depending on your designation, male, female, and you had to get, you were even assigned a partner, and in order to have relations with your partner, you had to get like a pass, like a hall pass, and your windows there was like no privacy. The only time you got privacy is like when you were with your partner, and they would lower the blinds so that you could have your privacy. Our main character goes outside of the boundaries of one nation, and he begins to learn about things that are outside of what he learned as being a citizen of one nation, things that they don't want him to know. And so he's starting to question what's going on. Then they kind of, the one nation, the government, kind of figures it out, what's going on, and they kind of, for lack of a better word, reprogram him. So it follows this character and his development into thinking, becoming an individual thinker. That's basically the gist of it. So if you've read 1984, if you've read Fahrenheit 451, but you have not read this, I definitely recommend that you check this out. And if you hadn't noticed, I have lots and lots of tabs in here, and it's really quite heavily annotated, just because, and a lot of this is like, if you read it, sorry, there's the glare of the light, but if you read it today, you see a lot of the things that are going on today in here. So the last book that I have is Fever Dream by Samantha Schweblin, and I read this and I was absolutely, I was scared. It talks about agricultural pollution and what it does to the community, to the communities, to the people, what happens when people do not do what they're supposed to do, and how toxic chemicals from agriculture are polluting our waterways and our ground and things like that, and how we then in turn ingest that toxic pollution and what happens. So when I was reading it, and when I finally figured it out, I was like, oh my gosh, this is really quite scary. So I definitely recommend you checking this out. All right, so there you have it. Those are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 books that I am recommending you check out, that you read, if you, well, just in general, but also if you need to meet your number of books read this year and or pages read this year. So definitely give these a try. And if you do, let me know in the comments how you like them. If you've read any of them, let me know how you liked them in the comments. And that's going to be it for this video, guys. I will see you later. See you in another video, maybe with the same shirt on. I don't know. It depends, because this has been real. And I will see you all later. Oh, don't forget, if you like this video, please make sure you hit subscribe, hit the thumbs up, and hit the bell to be notified of new content. Bye.